Narcissistic parents, want each sibling to be dedicated and devoted to them. Yeah, they don't want these siblings to have a bond and relationship. Yeah, they want all of their sources of supply to be dedicated and devoted to them. They don't want their siblings to, bond and, develop relationship. Yeah, the way how a healthy, individual does, a brother and sister, they develop a bond and relationship. But that is something which the narcissist doesn't want. They don't want the siblings to develop a healthy bond and relationship. Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. So today I'm going to talk about the different behaviors that narcissistic parents engage in that leads to sibling rivalry among their children. And before I get going, I would request you all to like, share, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys are updated whenever we put out a new content. So narcissistic individuals get married for a purpose and reason. Narcissistic individuals choose to become parent for a purpose and reason. Yeah, they get into all of these institutions to, get things. Yeah, it's not, selfless act that they are getting in, by getting married, or they are, engaging in by, bringing in children. They do it for a purpose and reason. Yeah, for attention, for admiration, for validation, for feedback, for financial gain, for social status. They, get into marriage and, this parenting thing, for some return. It's not like the way the healthy parent, views all these institutions. Whereas in they choose to start a family, they get married, they look after their partner, they raise and nurture their kids. All of those things, don't exist in narcissistic families and narcissistic relationship. It's all about supply. Yeah, they, marry because they want supply. Yeah, the supply can be anything. They breed because they want supply. Yeah, so it's all about supply. As long as they're getting the supply, everything is okay. The moment they see you are unable to supply them with what they want out of you, they are going to do all sorts of nasty stuff. Yeah, when you are raised by narcissistic parents, your life is almost like a circus. Yeah, you really don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah, at any point of time, there is a drama, there is chaos. Narcissistic parents are very unpredictable individuals. Yeah, and they do this to maintain control. They do this to, keep reminding the child as to who the boss is in the house, and they do this so that, everyone is scared of them. Yeah, they might, pretend good sometime, but that good doesn't last for long. Yeah, that good is basically to find out your vulnerabilities. That good is basically to find out your weakness. That good is basically to keep you confused. That good is basically to, keep you away from, seeing them for who they are. Yeah, they might shapeshift. They might, pretend to be good parent, but we know how good they are. There is no, amount of goodness in those individuals. Yeah, they go out and do, good things like charity, donation, and they don't do it, with this altruistic intent. They do it because they want validation and feedback. They want to be admired. They do it, because it's going to, help them, empower that social image. Yeah, so they don't do things without any reason. They don't do things out of empathy, compassion. No, they do anything and everything, with return. Yeah, so narcissistic parents might, have a very good image on the outside, and that is basically to, harness validation, admiration, appreciation. Yeah, the most charitable, the most humble person label they want. So they might engage into all sorts of things, but we know how nasty they are. Yeah, at home we get to see, who they are. Though they do a lot of stunts to keep us confused, but in the end we all know what we are dealing with. For narcissistic parents, their children are like puppets. Their spouse is like a puppet. And they like playing with puppet. Narcissistic parents can evade any kind of accountability and responsibility by saying that I'm your parent. I can never do bad for you. Do you think I can ever do anything bad for you? I'm doing all of this for your greater good. Yeah, I'm going out and working and providing you. Do you think I can ever do bad to you? So what if I slapped you? That was for your greater good. So what if I abused you? That was for your greater good. You might not realize now, but you might realize all of it later. Yeah, so narcissistic parents have their own unique way of evading any kind of accountability and responsibility. Plus, narcissistic parents develop and build an entire ecosystem that worships them, that enables them, that rationalizes and normalizes their abusive behavior. So it becomes all the more difficult for the kids to go out and seek help and talk about the kind of experiences they are experiencing at home. It becomes very difficult because the entire ecosystem is simply enabling the narcissist. Your mother suffered a lot, you should listen to her. Your daddy does this for you, you should obey him. This is the least you can do. Your daddy really loves you, so what if he's rude and if he hits you? That's what tough love is, you know it, right? All that tough love thing where your parents are treating you like shit, and when other people are coming and rationalizing and normalizing all of that and telling you in the heart he loves you, in the heart your daddy loves you, he really cares for you. So what if he slapped you? So what if he thrashed you? Yeah, I have gone through all of that and I know the kind of BS that is thrown at us. My parents enablers used to say, so what? That's what tough love is. Yeah, that's what tough love looks like. They might beat you, they might abuse you, they might harass you, torment you, antagonize you in all sorts of horrible ways, and that is for your greater good. Yeah, they love you, and so what if they have mistreated you? But in the end they love you. Yeah, so no matter what they do with you, just because they are your parent, you should let them go, give them a free pass and forgive them, and that's it. So narcissistic parents do all sorts of nasty stuff with their supply sources, whether it's their spouse or it's their children. They really don't spare their children. Narcissistic parents view their kids as an extension of themselves, so they expect their kids to feel, think, do, behave, everything the way they do and they approve of. Yeah, if you are thinking some other way, or if you are feeling some other way which they don't agree and they don't approve of, what they are going to do to you. Yeah, they are going to scapegoat you, they are going to torment you, they are going to triangulate, they are going to emotionally manipulate you, they are going to summon their flying monkeys to further manipulate you and torment you. So narcissistic parents have all sorts of tactics up their sleeves to control their children and manipulate their children. And they do this because they lack empathy and they feel very entitled. I have bred him, I have bred her, so what? I mean, I can do anything. Yeah, in the end I'm paying for her school fee, in the end I'm paying for his education and food. So what if I do this? So what? Yeah. And society has its own unique way to appropriate such toxic behavior. He's your parent, he's stressed, she must be pressured, that's why she hit you. So your parents might have had a fight and that's the reason, out of frustration, your mother hit you. We get to hear all of those gaslighting phrases, and that is basically to keep you confused and to keep you forever stuck with your narcissistic parents. So what are the behaviors that causes sibling rivalry? um, a narcissistic parent doesn't want the siblings to bond the way it happens in a healthy family. Narcissistic parents want each sibling to be dedicated and devoted to them. Yeah, they don't want these siblings to have a bond and relationship. Yeah, they want all of their sources of supply to be dedicated and devoted to them. They don't want their siblings to bond and develop relationship. Yeah, the way how a healthy individual does, a brother and sister, they develop a bond and relationship. But that is something which the narcissist doesn't want. They don't want the siblings to develop a healthy bond and relationship. They strongly believe in divide and rule. So they want all of the sibling to be divided. They don't want them to be united. They don't want them to be bonded. Yeah, so the narcissistic parent does a lot of nasty things, yeah, to create friction, to create division amongst all the siblings. Yeah, so everyone hates each other, everyone sees each other as a competition. Yeah, so they are never bonded, they are never together like a family. Yeah, they might be biologically brother and sister, but because of the narcissistic parents manipulation and gaslighting, what happens is that these kids, these siblings begin to see each other as enemies, as competition. Yeah, so there is nothing healthy that we get to see in narcissistic family, narcissistic homes. So there are a lot of ways narcissistic parents create sibling rivalry. They really don't want the kids to bond together and function like a unit, yeah, like a healthy family. They don't want that. They want kids to be divided so that the narcissistic parent can keep harnessing whatever he or she wants out of each of the children. So the narcissistic parents are never going to encourage this bonding, uniting, and having a healthy relationship amongst the siblings. They can't stand that, and the moment they see if two of the siblings are trying to bond together or are getting close, they will do something or the other. Yeah, so that the friction remains, so that the differences grow deeper. Yeah, the siblings hate each other. The siblings begin to see each other as competition. Narcissistic parents don't want harmony. Narcissistic parents don't want love and affection, yeah, amongst the siblings. They don't want that to develop. They want each of the sibling to hate each other. Yeah, and they get to control the kids easily. Yeah, they get to manipulate the kids easily. So narcissistic parents engage in a lot of different behaviors, and the first behavior that they engage in that causes sibling rivalry is comparison. Your sister does this better than you. Well, your brother does things much better than you do. You are nowhere close to him. Now what does this comparison do? This makes the child see the other sibling as a competition, that my mother likes him more, my father likes her more, and I'm not good enough. Yeah, so the narcissistic parents are going to engage in comparison amongst the siblings as well as with the others. Yeah, his son did this, you are nowhere close to him. I spent so much on you, but you are useless. Yeah, look at their daughter, they are so obedient, and look at you guys. You guys are just wasting time, money, and you guys are useless, you guys are worthless. Yeah, so the narcissistic parents are going to engage into this comparison, and they will compare the siblings with each other, and they will compare the kids with the others children as well. Yeah, so this is something that creates sibling rivalry, this comparison. Yeah, because the kid sees the other person as a rival. Yeah, and they see the other as a competition, that he is being loved, she is being loved, but I am not being loved. Yeah, and then all that erosion of self-worth, self-esteem, confidence happens. My mother loves him more than me because I'm worthless, I can never do things right. My father loves her more than me because I'm not good enough. Yeah, so comparison is a very bad stuff. I mean, healthy parents don't engage into all this comparison business, but narcissistic parents won't hesitate in comparing you with the others and with your other sibling. The second behavior that leads to sibling rivalry is favoritism. Yeah, so they are going to make the golden child their favorite child, and they are going to assure that child with all that attention, love, affection, and all good stuff, gifts, good food, treats, everything for that, golden child, that favorite, child. And no attention, no love, care, compassion for the other. So the others, begin to see and feel that there is something wrong with me. Yeah, my dad loves my brother more than us. Maybe there's something wrong with us. Yeah, um, all of this, low self-esteem, low self-worth, begins to develop. Yeah, because you are not given that environment where you can cultivate healthy self-esteem, self-worth. Yeah, you are all the time manipulated into believing that you are not good enough. There is a better version in the family that I love and care more, yeah, rather than you guys. So this favoritism is also something which creates sibling rivalry, when the other children begin to see the favorite child as a rival, and they start competing, they start burning themselves out, they start doing things more and more, so that my father loves me also the way how he loves my brother, my mother loves me the way how she loves the others. Yeah, but that day never comes. Yeah? So yes, favoritism is also one of the reason why we get to see a lot of sibling rivalry in narcissistic families. The third reason why we get to see a lot of sibling rivalry, in narcissistic families is, because of this triangulation. So narcissistic parents are never going to communicate directly. Yeah, they're going to triangulate through someone or the other. Well, your sister was saying this. Well, your auntie was saying this. So, the communication in narcissistic relationship or narcissistic family is never open and direct. It's always through someone. And this is basically, done so that the narcissistic parents can preserve their image. Yeah, the good person, or maybe the covert ones can pretend to be someone who has been victimized, antagonized, pretend to be the good parent. Yeah, so this triangulation helps them get their work done also, plus they are able to preserve the image that they are projecting, yeah, in front of the others. So they might triangulate things, and often it is quite uncomfortable. The kids want a direct communication, not everyone wants to take orders through someone, or wants to hear things via this person and that person. Kids want open and direct communication with their parent. If the parent doesn't like something, the parent can tell me, yeah, and I would appreciate that and I would love that. But in narcissistic families, things are way too complicated. Yeah, so triangulation is very common in narcissistic families. So the narcissistic parents are not going to convey their disagreement, or their dissatisfaction directly. They are going to convey it through the others, and this makes us feel ashamed. Yeah, at times they convey the things through someone whom we don't feel comfortable with. Yeah, someone might come and tell you, well, your dad was saying this, well, your dad was saying that. Narcissistic parents might triangulate things through their golden child. So the golden child might come and tell you, well, sister, dad is very angry with you, but dad is very annoyed with you. So you are unable to have a direct and open communication with your narcissistic parent. Yeah, because of this triangulation, you somewhat feel that you are not worthy of a direct interaction. Yeah, so if they are unhappy, or if they don't agree to something, they will pass across the message through someone. Yeah, and this is basically to train the child into believing that they are not worthy of my direct communication. Yeah, so I'll tell the golden child to go and tell this to other sibling. I will tell this relative to communicate on my behalf. Yeah, this is, the entire goal of this triangulation, that you are not worthy of my direct communication. So the communication is through my, convenient and, favorite individuals. Yeah, they are going to communicate on my behalf. You are not good enough to have a direct communication, channel with me. So it's going to be through someone, it's going to be through my favorite individual. Yeah. So a lot of mess happens because of this triangulation. But do these narcissistic parents care? The answer is no. The next behavior that leads to, sibling rivalry is invalidation. So the narcissistic parents are going to validate one child and invalidate the other. And this is basically to show who the important one is. Yeah. So narcissistic parents are going to invalidate no matter what you do for them, just because you are not their favorite child, you are not the golden child. Yeah. They see, the other child as the golden child. Yeah. So they are investing their time, energy, money, everything onto that child. Yeah. So that they can get a better harvest out of him. And they see you as the invisible one, or someone who's just there. Yeah. Or maybe, you can be the scapegoat. So narcissistic parents are big time into validating their favorite one and invalidating you, no matter what you do for them. Yeah. You will never be good enough. They will always, draw some kind of comparison with the golden child. Well, your sister does better. I'm sorry to tell you, but your brother has better understanding. You really don't know what you are doing. You need to learn something from your brother. Yeah. So they are going to, invalidate you if you come up with something, or if you do something. They are never going to, validate the way how they validate the golden child. They are simply going to invalidate. And what this does is that, you begin to see the golden child as the competition. And you in a way feel jealous that no matter what I do, I'm always wrong, I'm not good enough. And no matter what he does, that's so good. Even if it is crap, even if it is absolute rubbish that he does or she does, but she gets all that validation and appreciation. But when it comes to me, there is no validation. I'm always invalidated. No matter how good I perform, no matter how good I try and do things, I'm not good enough. Yeah. So then we begin to see, the golden child as a competition. Yeah. And we try and put in more and more and more, in hopes that my father is going to validate me, in hopes that my father is going to, see some goodness in me and validate me. But that day never comes. The other behavior of narcissistic parent that causes sibling rivalry is creating alliances. So narcissistic parents are into ganging up. So if you are the scapegoat, or if you are the spouse, that the narcissist doesn't like and is not much fond of, they are going to gang up against you with the other sibling and kids. Yeah. So they are going to gang up against their scapegoat, they are going to gang up against their spouse, and they are going to team up. Yeah. Narcissistic parents are going to, create a team. Yeah. Where they have their favorite golden child, where they have their supporters, and they are going to, then do the dirty dance. So narcissistic parents are into creating this alliance in the family. Yeah. So they are going to gang up with their favorite child against you. Yeah. And this is basically to throw you off balance, and this is basically to show you your place, that you are not good enough, and you can never be, my favorite. Narcissistic parents also take help of their children to, throw their partner off balance. So if there is some fight, some argument, the narcissistic parents are going to, gang up with the children, and then narcissistic parents are going to isolate the children from the other parent. Yeah. With whom the narcissistic parent is not having, good relationship. They are going to isolate, gaslight the children, manipulate the children, and, make the kids, against that parent. Yeah. And that's how they display power. Yeah. That's how they display, who the boss is in the family, by creating alliances. And as a result of which, we begin to see our siblings as rivals. We begin to see our siblings as a competition. Yeah, because my sibling is all the time, you know, with my father. My sibling is all the time with my mother against me. Yeah. So, it doesn't create a healthy impression. It doesn't create a healthy impact. Instead, it really destroys this uh, family bond. It really destroys this relationship, sibling relationship. Yeah, so narcissistic parents are into creating gangs in the family, and they will do this to teach you a lesson, or they will do it to teach the spouse a lesson. If ever you guys do things differently, or if ever you guys engage in something which they don't approve of, they are going to gang up with the other siblings and scapegoat you, um, shame you, do all sorts of nasty stuff. And as a result of which, we begin to hate our siblings. We begin to see our siblings as an enemy. That my father was abusing me, now my sister has also joined the gang and she is also abusing me. My father was punishing me, and now my sisters are not coming to help me. Instead, they are enabling and supporting my father. Yeah. So it really has a negative impact on the child's mind. The next behavior that narcissistic parents engage in, that creates sibling rivalry, is undermining achievement. They will validate the achievement of the golden child, even if it is tiny bit. Yeah, they will validate it, and they will appreciate that child. But if the other not so favorite child does something or achieves something, um that achievement is not good enough. Yeah, so that child doesn't get any kind of appreciation. So this undermining achievement is also there when you are in narcissistic families. If you are not the favorite, no matter how much you achieve, your achievement will never be validated. And if the golden child achieves a tiny bit, or if the favorite child achieves tiny bit, that will be validated. Yeah. The other behavior that narcissistic parents engage in that creates sibling rivalry is isolating siblings. So narcissistic parents are going to, cook up stories, or, tell you something which your sibling has not said. Yeah, so they are going to do all sorts of, nasty stuff. They are going to tell you a different version. They are going to add in salt and pepper and tell, some other version to your sibling, and, some other version to the other. And this is basically to create friction, and this is basically to get all of you to hate each other. Yeah, because narcissistic parents don't want the kids to be united, bonded like a healthy family. They want the kids to be isolated. They want the kids you know um, to be just in service of them. Yeah, they don't want the kids to function and behave like a healthy unit. They don't want that. Yeah, so narcissistic parents are into creating these false stories. Your sister said this, your sister was saying this, well, your brother said this. Yeah, they're going to keep doing this, so that everyone is isolated from each other. All siblings are isolated from each other. All siblings hate each other and see each other as enemies and competition. And the last behavior that narcissistic parents engage in that creates sibling rivalry is exploiting siblings weaknesses and strength. So the narcissistic parent might tell you, well, your sister can never do things right. I mean, this is what they will do with the golden child. Your sister can never do right. I mean, I can only expect from you. Yeah. Now, in front of the lesser favorite ones, the narcissistic parents might start up this competition, and they might say, well, your brother can do things flawlessly. I wonder why aren't you able to do things the way he does. Yeah, so narcissistic parents are going to use the siblings strength or weaknesses in front of each other. Yeah, and they are going to create this environment of competition. If your brother can do it, why can't you? Well, she can never do things right, why don't you do it yourself? Yeah, so these were a couple of behaviors that narcissistic parents engage in that creates sibling rivalry and creates a very unhealthy atmosphere at home in the family. So yes, this was it. In case if you would like to add in something, you can always comment below. Till then, take care of yourself. Don't ignore the red flags. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Bye.